Lisa.
Hello, there we go.
I left and came back. Hey, all you cool cats and kittens.
Okay. I'll mute mine.
Hi, Carol.
Hello. Hello. Well, I'm so glad everybody came tonight. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy Saturday. And I'm really excited that we have Lisa Spencer-Novak. If you guys follow us on Facebook, you know that Lisa does Singing Sundays. And so is Lisa up here? Yes, she is. And I'm guessing Lisa's kind of new since you don't have a icon yet.
I have never been on Twitter till tonight, Carol, so.
A Twitter virgin.
I am, yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us. And if people don't know anything about you, hopefully by the end of the night, they're going to be so excited they'll want to join all of our Facebook Lives. Those are usually at Sunday at 2 p.m. And Lisa goes out and she sings to the cats. So, Lisa, can you tell everybody who you were before you found Big Cats and when that was?
Oh, okay. So, I'm from Columbus, Ohio originally. I moved to Florida in 2017. And so, unfortunately, my introduction to big cats was at the Columbus Zoo. So, at that time, I didn't know what I know now, and what many people know now after the conservation game. And so, that was my exposure to big cats, so to speak. And I considered it to be important. You know, I had a family membership and I took my daughters and thought it was good to expose them to seeing animals and, you know, just all the things that you think until you realize that there's a lot more behind the scenes than you thought. So I first discovered Big Cat Rescue in 2014. I had been visiting Florida, vacationing, and with who has become now my husband, and we were in the Tampa area, and I don't even remember how I found out about it, but that first tour was in 2014, and after that, I became an advocate and a supporter, and buying everything in the gift shop and online, and we came back and did several more tours, and one of which was Walkabout, back when we used to be able to do that, so.
Were the big cats always your favorite, or did that happen just as a result of you getting to know more big cats at Big Cat Rescue?
I think I've always been drawn to cats, and interestingly enough, when I was growing up, we had dachshunds in the house. That was our family pet. And my father was kind of an anti-cat person, so I always heard this kind of bad rap about cats, like, oh, they're not friendly and they're not affectionate and so forth and so on. And so I never had a cat until I was an adult. And I got my first cat when I was just shortly after I graduated from college, when I was with my first husband. And we ended up having 5 at one point. So I just immediately realized that I'm a cat person, kind of hating life. So.
And do you mind telling people what you do when you're not at Big Cat Rescue?
Oh, not at all. So I'm a teacher. And I teach music. My students are pre-K through 5th grade, so like ages 3 to about 10 or 11. And that also keeps me pretty busy. Those of you who are educators or know educators know that that's a pretty consuming passion as well. So I feel like I have 2 hats. I'm passionate about that and passionate about Big Cat Rescue.
You know, I've been meeting a lot of performers in the NFT space. And one of the things I'm finding interesting in listening to their stories, and I'm curious if it's true for you as well, that so many of them didn't have normal childhoods because they spent so much time practicing their craft. And most of them were forced to practice their craft by their parents. So I'm curious how, because you play like all kinds of instruments, how was that for you growing up, and what motivated you?
I actually feel like I'm pretty normal for a musician. So I can remember even when I started studying, more seriously when I got to college and learning music history and that sort of thing. And I thought, wow, I'm never going to be a great composer because I don't have any mental illness or any serious disturbance in my life. Yeah, I really had a pretty normal childhood. My parents, actually, my brother and I started on accordions. I was 6 and he was 10. And I think my parents didn't buy them, they rented them. And it was some kind of package deal for a year to take lessons and rent these accordions. And I loved it. My brother didn't love it. Our dog didn't love it. So we didn't continue accordions, but it was always kind of in the back of my brain that I still love the accordion. So I ended up eventually, the accordion teacher told my parents that my brother and I were both very musical and should be playing some kind of instrument. So my brother went on to play the clarinet and was a very fine clarinet player, and I took up piano. And, I think back on it was such a leap of faith for my parents, because they were, we were not poor, we were not wealthy, we were just, kind of solid middle class, for that time. And there weren't a lot of extras, we were always fine, and we had a home and all those things that we needed, but we didn't do a lot of frills. And for them to invest in a piano, without really knowing whether that was going to take, whether I would stay with it, I think that was pretty incredible. But I did. I started when I was 10, and I just played after that, and nobody ever had to force me. I just loved it. So,
wow. Of all the instruments in the world, I've never heard of anybody saying they got started on an accordion.
I know. And Carol, it's in the future. I have an accordion now, and I haven't really played it a whole lot. So sometime we're going to see how the cats respond to that.
Wow. So you were coming out for every kind of tour. You were buying out our gift shop. Teaching children, that is exhausting. So what made you decide that you had extra time in your life to come out and clean cages?
Well, in 2017 is when I moved here. And honestly, that first year I was teaching kindergarten, and I didn't have any free time. So I didn't start volunteering right away. And then I changed, what I was doing with education. And I actually decided to go and sub for a little while, because I was so new to the area in Tabasco County, and I didn't really know the schools very well. And that first year just wasn't a good fit. I thought I really need to kind of, do some investigating before I settle into something else. So I had a lot more free time when I first started volunteering. So I started in 2018, and I kind of really rapidly went from red shirt to yellow shirt, but I was on the partner side. I was in the gift shop, and I was giving tours, because that was all pre-COVID, of course. So actually my favorite thing still was to give kids tours. And that's probably the one thing I miss the most about COVID, is not being able to do that.
And I'm sure that's what brought you up on my radar first, because nobody wants to give kids tours. And everybody wants to have one.
Many people there are not really big kid fans. I remember once there was an intern, and forgive me, I can't remember her name now, but it was obviously back before COVID. And we were doing a tour, and there was kind of a fussy kid, and she was however old she was, 19. She was like, I don't know what to do. And I just started talking to him, and they just calmed right down. She looked at me like, what'd you do? How'd you do that? But it's just, I don't know. I think kids understand when you get them and when you are interested in them. And I also often say that I wear my grown-up suit, and I'm really just a big kid inside. And I think somehow that they recognize that. So
they can probably recognize it from your earrings. You always have theme appropriate earrings. Holiday things.
I have lots of earrings. Yeah, that's my main accessory. Yeah, definitely.
So you were giving kids tours, and you were on the partner side, which for people who are new here in this room, can you tell them the difference between the partner and the keeper sides?
Sure. So when I started, partner side means that you give tours, you work in the gift shop. That was pre-COVID, obviously, when we were open. And sometimes some kind of general office kind of work, like maybe putting together supporter kits or writing thank you notes to supporters, just a variety of things like that. And, a certain amount, I always tried to help at the end of the day with chores, because there used to be chores in the gift shop as well as on the keeper side. And the interns were just, oh man, they had such a long day. They were doing tours, and they were taking care of the kittens in the kitten cabana back then. And I just
domestic kittens.
They don't need one more thing they have to do at the end of the day. So I would always try to stay and help with that. So.
And to clarify, she's talking about domestic kittens that we
Yes.
were taking care of for the Humane Society. We do not breed at Big Cat Rescue. So March 2020 comes around. We have to shut the gates due to COVID. All of a sudden, you're without a volunteer position. So what happened for you to transition?
Yeah, and Carol, I had just gotten my green shirt too.
Oh no.
That's the part. I literally just got it. I finished my last sign-off, I think the last day that we did tours.
And can you tell people what that means? Because that was a really big deal.
Yes. Yeah, so the shirt levels are, basically training that you go through, and a certain amount of hours that you volunteer as well that take you to different levels. And it's changed some now because of COVID. I don't believe there's as many red shirts as there used to be, because there isn't a partner side. So most of the keepers who would have been considered red pre-COVID now are yellow, based on hours and level of training and that kind of thing. So, I said, well, I'm not going to stop volunteering. So I guess I'm going to learn how to do keeper things.
And so you pretty much had to start all over with the shirt colors then.
I'm sorry?
I'm guessing you had to start all over with the shirt colors since you were on the other side now.
Yes, I did. But I don't think, I'm trying to remember how long it took to go from red to yellow. I don't think it took a real long time. I honestly don't remember how long it was. But it was a certain process, because you have to, I think I started out doing projects and learning food prep and that kind of thing, because it takes a while to get certified, to be cleaning. And then you go from cleaning to enrichment, and then you do feeding, and then you do operant. So all of those are many weeks certification before you move to the next level.
And there's also time commitments. So red was 4 hours a week, and yellow is 6 hours a week. And I think green is 8 hours a week that people have to put in to keep up those levels.
That's true.
When did you first decide to start singing to the cats?
Carol, I was trying to think about that, thinking ahead to tonight. And I think it was when you and I were doing some, we were kind of aiming to talk to kids, but it ended up being more of a walkabout.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it was one of those, and it was Nikita. And I think I just kind of started singing, and you said, oh, you sing? And then we just started doing it.
And then Edith sent you a keyboard.
She did, yes. And I love that so much. Yeah.
And
if Edith's out there, I always sing that Dez's song to him whenever I see him, which is Good Night, Sweetheart.
And you sing to the cats even when you're not being recorded, I understand.
Absolutely, yeah. As I'm going around, cleaning, I definitely do. And if certain songs that I feel like that's how they know me. They recognize the song, they recognize my voice. So just another way to connect.
So I've heard people ask in the comments whenever we do Singing Sundays, why are you singing to the cats?
Yes, and a couple of times I think I've even done it in the live. I noticed that sometimes there are comments that people are concerned that it's somehow the cat can't get away or they're trapped, and that just is
not the case.
Not true. 100% not true. It's another form of enrichment, just the same reason we give them spice bags or sickles or toys to play with. It's just something that is different. I often ask myself, I can't imagine what they're thinking when I come up with, the gear, or sometimes not the gear. Sometimes I just sing, but I would love to know what that thought process is as I'm doing it. But they definitely have plenty of space, and if they don't want to hang around, they don't have to.
Well, it's definitely the universal language, and we've only ever had a couple of cats walk away from us that I can remember in all the time you've been doing this.
That's true.
So this is a lot of work that you're putting in out there, because when it's cold, when it's freezing cold, and you guys are out there cleaning water bowls with your bare hands, you're having to wear masks around the cats all the time, which when it's hot is just suffocating to have to do that, but you're doing it to protect the cats because they can catch and die from COVID. There are mosquitoes out there the size of Buicks, and they just, come in swarms, and so you're dealing with all of this blood, sweat, and tears that you're putting into these cats. What is it that causes you to do that consistently, week after week, year after year?
Oh, Carol, I can't not do it. Once you know you can't not know about their struggle, about why they're there, about what still needs to be done. I just feel really honored to be able to be there and helping them and helping with their care, and knowing that because we're all volunteers, it helps you and it helps the mission, because financially that would be a lot if you had to pay everybody to care for the cats.
Can you imagine? I mean, there's like
just
80 to 100 of you guys.
Right. So I feel like it's what I can do. Since I can't educate anymore with the tours, this is what I can do. This is how I can give it back and help the cats. And yeah.
And do you have a vision of the future, like 10 years out? What will it look like for big cats in this world?
Oh, it's interesting you say that, because I was thinking more just 3 years down the road, because I'm getting close to being able to retire, hopefully.
Well, 3 is fine.
Yes. But my hope is that there isn't any need for cages for cats, and that if what people want to see them, there's virtual ways to do that that are beyond even what I can imagine right now, I'm sure. But hopefully there is no more need to have a cage, to have a cat in it.
That's certainly what I envision for the cats. If Big Cat Rescue were able to completely end the abuse of cats that causes them to end up in need of rescue, are there other animals that you'd be like, you know what, I'd really love to look into an otter sanctuary or a seabird sanctuary?
I'm interested in manatees.
Ooh.
Yeah, Chuck and I like to kayak, and I love when we see manatees when we're out. And that's just another terrible situation between boating accidents and red tide and habitat loss. It's just they're in crisis again, too. So that would also interest me.
They're saying that right now their big threat is that they're starving to death because of all of the pesticides, or not pesticides,
right,
but weed killers that we've dumped into our waterways. They're killing off their food supply, and so they're having to feed the manatees, which is a real controversial thing to do. Do you have any opinions on that issue?
Yeah, I think that's a really hard decision, whether to do that or not, because obviously you don't want wild animals to be dependent on people for food. That's a tough one. That's really hard.
Yeah, I can't quite grasp it either. It's like, if this were happening to bobcats in the wild, well, it kind of is with this FLM that the bobcats have. For the first time ever, I'm thinking, you know what, if those cats can survive in domestic cat feral colonies, then I might be okay with people feeding bobcats, because we've got to get them through this crisis and then fix whatever this underlying crisis is before they're completely wiped out. So it's the first time I've ever thought that was a good thing to do.
Right.
Well, that's all of the questions that I can think of, and I am sure that there are people in the audience here who have their own questions. So if you do have a question, just put your hand up. You can do that down at the bottom where that little heart is. In fact, if you would tweet out the room by that big blue plus and let everybody know that you're in this room and that they can come over and ask their questions. And then where the heart is, there's a hand up sign. So just click that hand up and we will be able to bring you up onto the stage to ask your question. And Deb, I will hand it over to you at this point.
Thank you. Lisa, interestingly enough, I play accordion too.
Oh, no kidding. We have to do a duet.
I have been playing keyboards of all kinds since I was 7, and accordion was one of the first ones. So
that's awesome. See, that's why I like you, Deb.
So I just had to share that because there aren't too many people that play accordion. So
I can see dueling accordions out there coming soon.
No, right?
So I just looked as you and Carol were talking, and you started doing Cats for Kids on March 22nd of 2020. You did 18 of those.
Okay.
And then starting May 17th of 2020, you started doing Singing Sunday, and you did 77 of those.
Okay.
So you've done almost 100.
And I have a list. I keep a list of who I've sung to and what the date was and what I sang. So, yeah.
Yeah. So you've done a good number of those, which is, that's a lot of time to practice. And so many times you change the words up to fit, the cat you're singing to. And that doesn't mean you can't just do that off the cuff. That you have to work at that to make that all fit. So good job.
It's a labor of love.
Yes. Absolutely it is. So I do have a question. So you said you at one point had 5 cats at home. How many pets do you have at home now?
I'm sad and he's sitting right here. His name's Antonio, and he's a just gorgeous tuxedo cat, black and white. But sadly, I brought 3 cats with me to Florida in 2017, and he's the remaining cat of those 3. Yeah, I just recently lost my female. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's just, that's the nature of life. And,
yeah.
Yeah. And she lived to a good age. She was, I think, at least 20. I never was sure exactly how old she was. I got her at a shelter called Cat Welfare up in Ohio. So when I adopted her, I wasn't sure of her exact age. She was young, but she wasn't a kitten. And that was, 2004. So she lived to a good age. Yeah.
Well, I had a dachshund as well. Not growing up, but in recent years, I've had a dachshund. So we need to chat some more. We have a lot more in common.
I was going to say, you find out all kinds of things, don't you?
Yeah. I'm going to turn it over to Karen and see if she has a question. Well, I know the answer to that. Karen always has a question. And then we will just start down the row and see what kind of questions everyone has for you. Karen?
Okay. Thanks, Deb.
Thank you, Deb. Deb, you're so funny. You have all those facts and figures. I try to be so much like her. And I try because Moe's, she's like my mentor. So on Facebook, she just always has every answer, but I cracked up and I was shocked and I was not shocked all at the same time of how she just whipped up 77 times that Lisa did this, or I don't even know what it was, but that was amazing, Deb. You just kill me every day. Lisa, what I was wondering is and you kind of touched on it a little bit. Well, first of all, I'm Karen Nash. I help with the main page. I coordinate the team that keeps that nice and clean and the happy page and fun to be on. Yes.
Thank you for that.
Yes. And so I'm always basically on Singing Sunday. If I can, I try my best, but I appreciate it and love it. And you're amazing. So that leads me to my question. And you, like I said, touched on it a teeny bit. Have you ever, or did you ever, I knew that you and your brother, from what you said, found out that you were good at this and had a talent for it, but did you ever try professionally? Did you ever try to not go on like one of those shows, but something like it? Try to, you were in Ohio. There's big cities there. Did you ever go into any of the cities and audition or anything like that?
Okay, good question. Well, I'll give you a brief answer to that. So I went to Ohio State University and I studied music there, and piano was my main instrument, but I did secondary voice, so I did have some training. I ended up going into theory and composition. I got my master's degree. I thought I wanted to teach college level, but this goes back to a little bit what Carol said earlier. I kind of figured out that I wasn't that person that was going to only do that and be that kind of narrow in my focus. And I realized that there were other things. I've always been interested in lots of different things, and I didn't want to just solely focus on that. So I was going to go on and do PhD work and teach college level, and I kind of said, I really don't think that's for me. So to answer your question, I ended up becoming a dance accompanist for mainly ballet classes. And then through that, I discovered flamenco, which is a Spanish dance form. And I had never danced as a child. I was already like 26 when this happened. And I just fell in love with it. And I threw myself into it, started studying the dance. And long story short, I have sung professionally doing flamenco. So that's
okay.
That's
Thank you for answering. That sounds wonderful. So now we're going to expect, as you must realize, you and Deb doing a little duet and you having a solo dance section. That would be fabulous. We really look forward to you on Sunday. So I really appreciate all you do. And thanks for your answer. Deb, do you want to go ahead and ask the next person, or did you? You go ahead and do it, because now I just lost it. I was going to say I would introduce them, but you go ahead. Thank you. Thank you so much for everything, Lisa.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you, Karen.
Can I cut in?
Is that Daniel?
No, this is Nate in San Diego. Huge fan.
Oh, hi, Nate. Thank you.
Thank you for all that you do. My biggest question, I guess, is for Carol. How do you sleep at night?
What?
Never mind. He's gone.
Yeah,
Apologize, Carol.
just ugly.
There's no need to apologize.
Always expect the inevitable in these bullshit spaces. Welcome to spaces. I get that shit all the time in mine. People come up and troll. It's annoying.
Well, that was unfortunate.
And Carol, I wanted to say I appreciate you too. I see you hopping in my spaces every now and then, popping in and chilling for a little bit. So thank you. Appreciate that.
Well, thank you for joining us tonight. This is kind of off topic for people that are into NFTs, so I appreciate the support in my communities.
Oh yeah, you already know. I support everybody. I got you. You be supporting, I'm supporting. I'm trying to get everybody in here too. I'm bringing some crowds to you, so get some people in the room for you.
Well, thank you. Did you have any question for Lisa?
So I wanted to ask, you said you were talking about the cat that you had that lived for 20 years? Is that what you had that?
Uh-huh.
So all right, so let me ask you this. What did you do and how did you maintain, what did you do for that cat that lived 20 years? What was the routine of that to where it got that amount of life out of it?
That's a good question.
Time.
And I've actually had more than one cat live that long, so I don't know the answer to that, except I love them. Try to regular vet checkups, make sure they have fresh water, keep the litter box clean. Nothing extraordinary, but she really was kind of amazing. We were kind of thinking we were going to lose her a few times before she finally did have to say goodbye. So she was a fighter.
That's a crazy name. My cat. I mean, my wife freaking loves cats. I'm a dog person, but my wife loves cats, so I'm stuck loving cats too. The one cat we had, I mean, it didn't live past 15, and then the two cats that I had when I was younger, literally one was 17, the other one lived to 16. I honestly ain't had a cat that lived past 20. I know that's crazy. So I just wanted. I know some people have said that before, but I think it's like 20 years is a hell of a time. Like I know, tigers. How long do tigers live for? Like how long do big cats live for? Like what's the average year of a big cat?
Is that for me?
No. Well, I don't know if you know.
I mean, I can tell you my experience at Big Cat Rescue. They have had cats live as long as 25 years. It's exceptional. That probably wouldn't happen in the wild, but it's because they're in the environment they're in where they're fed and they have vet care and they have, all those needs met that if they were in the wild possibly would not happen.
Yeah, in the wild, they only usually live to be 10 or 12, and in most zoos and other sanctuaries, that's about how long they live. But at Big Cat Rescue, like Lisa said, they usually live twice as long as they live anywhere else because it is such a peaceful environment and they do get good food and vet care. And it's just, everything that people like Lisa and all of our volunteers do every single day is to try and make those cats as comfortable as they possibly can rather than treating them like display props. So I think that's why they do live a lot longer with us.
Well said, Carol.
Yeah, I love what you're doing. I don't give a shit what anybody says. Proof is in the pudding. You know what I'm saying? I love what you're doing. I love Big Cat Rescue. Support you guys 100%.
Thank you.
Hi, Chris. Did you have a question or comment for Lisa?
Yes, I do. Thanks, Deb. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, great. I just want to say I'm also an online volunteer on the main page, a moderator on the main page, Lisa, and I work with Deb and Karen. And because we are a 24-hour kind of a team, we are on the page 24/7. I live in a different time zone, so I don't get to. Because it'll be like 3 a.m. for me during the Seeing Sunday, which I miss, but I always watch it, the recording later.
Thank you.
Watch it, and I really appreciate what you do for the cats, and we as well as the cats really enjoy it. So thank you very much. My question also is that I know that Jinx is your absolute favorite. Who's your small cat favorite, and if they're a tiger favorite as well?
Oh, yes, I can answer that. And I will say that Jinx became my favorite, and also Priya, Tiger, is my favorite female. That was back in tour days because I wasn't around some of the small cats I never even saw when I was giving tours. Because some of them, if you're not familiar the way the tour path is, some of the interior cats were never really part of the tour. So Jinx, obviously, he's Jinx, that's all I can say. I mean, he's just fabulous. And he kind of reminds me of my domestic cat, my Antonio. He's got like this similar vibe that, I don't know, something about his eyes. Anyway. And then Priya, she used to be in a different enclosure than she is now, but she would always put on a show for tours and, splashing her pool and stuff. So she caught my heart. And then I started...
I think she was in the one now Kali's in, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And then I started being a keeper. And so now, I definitely do have a small cat favorite, and it's Gilligan.
Oh, yeah.
The lynx, yeah. Because once you start being around the cats in that way, it's different than giving tours. You really see them so differently, and you have much more of a relationship. Plus, it's much quieter now because there aren't tours going around. So when I'm just out there cleaning and there's nobody else. Well, I shouldn't say nobody because we do go out in pairs, but mostly nobody around. It's just, it really gives you a chance to just spend time with them and learn their ways. And so he's my favorite.
Wonderful. He's one of my favorites too. One of the first cats after Cully I sponsored was Gilligan. So yeah, I've been there a few times, by the way, and
Okay.
quite familiar with the enclosures as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris.
Passing back to Deb.
And Chris, thank you for watching over our social media while we're all sleeping.
You're most welcome, Carol. I think our team's going to be about 2 years by next month. Yeah.
You've been absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Dawn. Did you have a question or comment for Lisa?
Hi. I guess it's a comment and a request. Hi, Lisa. How are you?
Hi, Dawn. How are you?
Good. Okay, so first off, for that accordion, my uncle used to play the accordion.
Oh, no
my
kidding.
God. Like, that is like the best. You really have to go out there with them for the cats. I bet you they would love it.
I agree.
And then, I don't know if you did a tribute to Queen Nikita, and I was wondering if you can do a tribute, because the ones that you have done in the past are amazing, Lisa. So I was just wondering if you'd be able to do a tribute to our Queen Nikita.
I am going to check my notes. I feel like I did.
Did you?
But let me be sure about that. And I could be thinking of, because I have sung to Nikita more than once, so I might be thinking of the last time I sang to her.
Right.
Yeah, so that's why I always double check. So, you might be right about that. Yeah, I don't think I did actually do a tribute to her.
Right.
A memorial. Yeah, like what you're saying.
Right. So I was just wondering if you'd be able to do a tribute, because the ones that you have done in the past are just amazing.
I would be happy to do that.
Thank you so much.
I'm
And
always
again,
surprised that
thank
you make it through.
everybody for what you guys do. I am here to fight the fight with this Big Cat Public Safety Act. And I'm kind of like you now, Lisa, buying up everything in that gift shop and being proud of everything that I buy.
Yay. Thank you for that.
Wait, so is Big Cat Rescue in Florida now?
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Dawn. Yes, we're located in Tampa, Florida.
Oh, no shit. I didn't know you guys were in Florida. Damn.
Dawn, I have to say that since all of the summer stuff has come out, I've been buying a whole lot of stuff too. So I totally get it. I've got a closet full of nothing but the Cat Rescue shirts and hoodies and, you name it. And
Yes, Deb, I'm going to tell you that summer design is on my list. Again, ladies, if I could have a sugar daddy,
yeah, I could probably take my stuff down to the gift shop and load up the gift shop with all that I have, jewelry and you name it. So I totally understand.
Nobody's getting my stuff, so
well, no,
you can go ahead.
Mine either, but I sure have a lot.
Exactly.
Hi, Daniel. Did you have a question or comment for Lisa?
Sorry, just getting over that last comment about the sugar daddy. That's funny. Well, see, I'm one of those people that has a really good memory. So I not only remember what Lisa was talking about, Carol just casually mentioned, like, oh, you sing? Like, we should do something about that. And then you mentioned that you sing to the cats when you clean, and then hence Singing Sunday became a thing.
Right.
And I'm happy it did. And also, accordions and cats, that sounds fun. And maybe like a kitty polka.
There you go. And thank
this
you,
was
Daniel.
kind of asked, but yes. Yeah, because the last time you played to Nikita actually was when you did My Request from My Life.
Yes, and that was such a beautiful song. Yeah.
I guess my question is, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but I know there's more. What does Jinx the Black Leopard mean to you?
Oh boy. He just is exceptional. He's extraordinary. He's deep, and that's a term that I use about my cat Antonio as well. I just think there's a very deep soul in that cat, and in spite of his goofy side that he has, I think there's another side that's very, very deep.
Yeah, he seems. It's weird because there are many moods of Jinx. It's not just he's not. Can't just put him in a box. He's.
Oh no.
Even today when we were watching him, he got some enrichment, and then he decides like, oh, I want to play with this log that's sitting next to me, this tree stump, and being all goofy, and then and Cyrus is in the background trying to get the attention of everybody else when they're clearly trying to focus on Jinx, and Cyrus is like, I don't care, look at me, and Jinx kind of looked at him at one point like, hey, they're looking at me. I just love him. He's silent. He's gorgeous, but you can just see in that cat. It's like he's constantly thinking, but it's not like he's not like being like malevolent. Like sometimes Mandy can give you a look, and you're like, oh no. But Jinx is different. He's like almost like a friend. I could go on forever about Jinx, so I will hand it off to the next person.
Well, thank you, Daniel, and thank you. I know you're a big supporter, and I appreciate all of your suggestions that you send me, so thank you.
Yes.
Hi, Mary. Did you have a question or comment for Lisa?
I just wanted to say thank you, Lisa. You and Carol, I really enjoy the way that you work together, and you just have a cute relationship when you're on your cart talking about what you're going to do that day. That's enjoyable. And I love listening to your songs. I'm also on the group that watches over the page, and we do get a lot of questions about why do you sing to them? And I always comment back that it's to keep their brains active. Do you have any other suggestions as to what we can say about the enrichment side of what you're doing?
Well, I think that Carol touched on this, but I have a sign in my music room at school that says music is the universal language. And I do think that's true. I think that music just breaks through at that level. I think not just cats. I think lots of living beings respond to music. It can be very healing. It can be very soothing. It can be stimulating. It can be all sorts of things depending on the mood and the song and cat. So,
well, sometimes when I sing to my cat, he just bites me. So,
well, you know that I don't get close enough to the cats.
Yeah. Well, mine's a domestic Maine Coon, and he's got big enough teeth. Oh my goodness! But you do a wonderful job, and thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Mary.
And thank you, Mary, for joining us over here on Twitter Spaces. I think I recognize your voice from Clubhouse.
Yep, I'll be right here with you.
And thank you for all the work that you do when taking care of all of the questions and comments and all of the educating that goes on behind the scenes. I love the fact that there are people like you that are so patient with these people that sometimes come in pretty hot and hateful, but you guys are all so kind to them and really take the time to let them know what we're about and how we don't want to see any cats in cages. And that's our whole mission here.
Absolutely. And I've said this before, it is my pleasure and it's an honor to do this job. Thank you for having me.
I will say, Carol, I couldn't do what I do if it wasn't for those ladies that work on the main page and help manage the social media. There's just no way. They do such an awesome, amazing job, and it's a real pleasure to be able to work with all of them.
And I think you touched on it earlier when you said, or maybe it was Karen that said, that you guys keep it a fun place and a safe place so that trolls aren't able to get in there and start being hateful to people and getting them all upset. You're more than happy to work with people who want to learn and find out the truth about these cats, but you don't put up with any nonsense either. So I really appreciate how you guys toe a very fine line there.
Carol, we've learned after the 2 years now, it's pretty easy to weed out the people that we think that we'll be able to grab. And that does happen. We actually turn people around pretty often. And it's kind of shocking even when it happens now, because they kind of want to know. That's why they come to the page, some of them. I mean, some of them are just trolls and haters, but there's some that just are a little bit interested, and they'll give us a little test maybe, and then we give them education and information. And it's so nice when they'll say, oh, wow, I didn't know that. Thank you so much. And then I see them again, somewhere down the line, their name. But that's the best part, when we can turn them around.
That's the most exciting part of the job, is to be able to turn people around and actually give them the information that they need and teach them something about what the sanctuary is about, what you're doing, and the purpose, and the Big Cat Public Safety Act, and trying to promote that as much as possible. It's very satisfying when somebody turns around and gets it and realizes you don't want to have these animals in cages. You want them free. You don't want the cages to be necessary.
Well, was there anyone else who had any questions for Lisa? If not, Lisa, is there anything that you would like for us to know about you that we forgot to ask?
I don't think anything off the top of my head, but just thank you, Carol, for the opportunity to do what I do. The Singing Sunday, it's been sort of the silver lining in the whole COVID experience, because probably would not have happened if we were still giving tours and operating as we were before. So I really appreciate that. And I enjoy our time together every Sunday. And I just think you're tremendous and brave, and it's an honor to know you.
Aww.
Lisa, I do have one other question. Being from Ohio, were you there when the massacre had occurred?
Yes, I lived there my whole life. I was born in 1960, and I didn't move till 2017.
Did that have any part in you even going when you finally moved to Florida? Did you have that in the back of your mind at all, to go see the Tigers?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That was a really, obviously terrible tragedy.
Yeah. So sorry that was in that state, but glad that you came out on the other side of it, loving them and being such a big participant in helping now. So that's wonderful. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Hey, Lisa, it's Daniel.
Hi,
I
Dan.
wanted to thank you for something that you did. There was a couple Singing Sundays ago who had finished singing, and someone mentioned cage size. And then you walked around the enclosure and showed the whole enclosure.
Oh, yeah, I did.
And showed them exactly how much space that particular cat had. I mean, there are so many people, even now in the comments, even when Brittany goes live, talking about cage sizes. And I like that you actually took the time and said, as a teachable moment, and said, here's the space that this cat has, and these are all the toys that this cat has, and this is all the enrichment this cat has. And you actually, I could tell the teacher in you was working.
Yes.
Like, here, let me educate you.
Yeah, and I like what you said about teachable moment, because I do believe that is just so important. I do it often at school, even though I'm a music teacher. There are many other teachable moments that come up just because children are children, and there's lots of other life lessons that happen in elementary school. So, and when I get the chance, I talk to them about Big Cat Rescue, and they do know that I do Singing Sunday. So I'm not sure how many of them have had the opportunity to watch it, but they know that it's something I do.
Thank you.
Well, if everybody would unmute yourself and let Lisa know how much we love her for coming on here and for singing to the cats every Sunday and all of the education that she's doing, just holler it out.
Thank you so much, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa.
Love you.
We love you.
Bye. Thank you so much.
And Deb, do you want...
We have one other speaker that came up that had been invited up earlier that I want to give a chance to speak. Nisa, I'm sorry if I messed up your name. Did you have a question or comment for Lisa?
Yeah, it was just a personal one. I was just going to ask if you have ever been able to sing to Max Tiger.
I have. I'm trying to, let me think back and I can tell you exactly. I believe I sang Imagine to him. For sure. I'm going to check my notes to be sure about that. I see. I keep careful notes of when I sing to everybody. Manny.
I have a vague recollection of him laying in his bed.
Oh, I'm sorry. I sang to Simba. Maybe, or was it Max?
Who did you sing the Spanish song to, Lisa?
Well, I sang a flamenco song, a garotin.
Yeah.
That was to Simba.
I see.
Yeah.
Because they're from Guatemala.
Right.
Yeah, of course. Cici.
And you just recently sang Kimba, if I remember correctly. He was like, last week, wasn't he? So Max?
Yes, he was. I did Lean on Me for him. Yeah.
I thought you did sing Imagine, right?
Yeah, you know what? It was not, it was Imagine, it was Christmas time, but it was 2020. So that's been a moment. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I think he's a sweet boy, and I'm hoping that he's going to start feeling more at home soon. He seems like he is.
Yeah.
Nisa, if you'll go to dailybigcat.com and go to the playlist Singing Sunday, you'll be able to scroll back and find that in that playlist.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Nisa.
Well, next week we have a very exciting guest that I love it when he comes and joins us. Howie Baskin, Carol's husband, is going to be joining us to talk about the Big Cat Public Safety Act again. And we've invited him back because we're in a new space where we used to be on Clubhouse and now we're on Twitter Space. We have a lot more opportunity to pull in more people with more diverse backgrounds and get the message out there. And the great thing about it is that Twitter Space allows you to record it and then it stays permanently in Twitter Space. So people can go back and listen. And we've been watching, and so many more people have gone back on Twitter Space and listened to the conversations here. So the hope is that we can get the word out even more by him joining us on this Twitter space. So next week at 6 o'clock, Howie will be joining us to talk about the Big Cat Public Safety Act. And it will be a great time for him to talk about that because Carol will be in DC this week. And I'm sure that there will be a lot of great new information maybe for him to share with us next Saturday evening. Carol, did you have any
travels?
I didn't hear the last comment, Dawn.
I just said safe travels, Carol.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Well, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. Thank you, Lisa, especially for being our guest and sharing your life and love with these cats with everybody here. And I can't wait to be back with all of you guys next Saturday at 6 p.m.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Deb.
Thanks, Carol.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
I liked it.
you.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you guys for joining. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.